Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for another Tool Tuesday. I have a new to me tool in the shop here that I recently acquired. I wanted to share it with you, show it to you, talk about how it works and how we can put this to work around here in the shop. And I actually have a practical application that I want to use this on today there as well. So to begin with, what we have here is a fell precision level. Now, I first learned about these when I was hanging out with my friend Lance down in his shop. He pulled one of these guys out and we were using this to level one of his surface grinders. Actually, it was a couple machines that we had put this on and level it at the time. And that was the first time I have ever seen one of these in person before. They were new to me. And ever since then, I've always kind of wanted one, you know, because they are such a very cool tool to have and be able to use. Well, recently, Keith Rucker at vintagemachinery.org, he was up there at the Arn Fest, and during his journeys, he was at an antique store and found one of these fell levels for sale in an antique store, just completely random, and of all places up in Rockford, Illinois, where these used to be manufactured at. So Keith got a heck of a deal on that fell level, bought it, brought it home, and he was showing it to me, and I mentioned to him, I said, well, now that you've got two of them, because he already had this one here, I said, if you're looking to sell one of them, I'm really interested in buying one. So he offered to sell this one to me. So thank you very much, Keith. I really appreciate the offer on selling me your other fell level, this guy right here. And I'm just excited to have this and put it to work. I think it's going to be very useful around here, and we're going to put it to work today for the very first time. As far as the calibration of this, I don't know how spot on it is. Keith said that he has used it, and it seems to be calibrated very, very close. So we'll give it a try and see. So I'll get you in here a little bit closer so you guys can see what this looks like up close. We'll talk briefly about how it's used, and then what I would like to do is go into the inspection room there on our granite surface plate, and I'm going to use this, and we're going to see if we can get our granite surface plate as perfectly level as we can anyway. This is a real finicky level to use, but we'll see if we can make it happen, all right? All right, so here's a little closer look at our new to us level. So to begin, this was manufactured by the Fell Precision Level Company out of Rockford, Illinois. And these were manufactured to extreme high tolerances. They're supposed to be very accurate, and I'm really excited to finally have my hands on one of these guys. What I would like to do is use it on our new Starrett granite surface plate and see if we can get our granite plate as level as possible. So the benefit of using this type of level on, say, the granite surface plate or any machine that you need to level is that you can use this to level in two axes at the same time. Traditionally, we have a precision level, and we'll level it one direction, and then we turn it 90 degrees and then level it front to back that way, and then you keep rotating it and leveling your machine or your equipment and the two axes there, as we mentioned. This level allows you to set this guy in place, and you never have to rotate it, and as long as it's calibrated properly, you can use this bubble here and level both sides of the machines at the same time to try to get your equipment leveled in. You can see I'm just barely manipulating this thing, and you can see that bubble moving around. And it's very, very finicky. Each one of those lines in there represents a 1/2 thousandths per foot. So you've got, I believe I counted, it was 4 thousandths total that you can be out on this thing, and it register there on the line. So not a lot of room for error there, and you can definitely chase your tail whenever you're using a level of this magnitude on a piece of equipment. So we'll see how we can do. But I wanted to just give you a little better, closer look at how this level is manufactured, how they built it. And you can see on the base here, what they have done is they machined it, and then this was hand scraped for flatness. They've also got these grooves machined in there, and I'm sure that's helpful so that whenever you're moving it around or setting it down, if you have any dust particles or anything, it kind of captures up inside there. But beautiful hand scraping work on that. And I have not printed this. I don't know how how perfectly flat it is, but I'm sure it's in good shape because Keith said that he's already checked it, and all he's done, which is what I'm going to do, is just give it a polish with our precision flat stones, and I'll do that and see if we can see all of the little high spots on there. But it should be in good condition per what Keith has told me, and I trust his judgment on that. As far as how well it's calibrated, I don't know, but I would have to assume that it's going to be pretty well spot on. But we'll just cross that road whenever we get there and see if we can determine how close it is. I'll probably end up using this and my Starrett Master 199 level together to kind of see how both levels compare to each other, if one's off from the other or whatnot. Anyway, that's a closer look at this level right here. And what I want to do is go in there to our Starrett granite surface plate, and we're going to put this in the middle of it and see if we can get our granite plate as perfectly level as we can using our new to us fell precision level. So before we go in there to the plates, let's go ahead and give this a light buff with our precision ground flat stones. Got our precision stones here. Just give the faces a rub to clean them. We'll start with this guy. And I'm just gonna go across this thing and see if there happens to be any nicks or high spots on there. I just very lightly slide it across. It feels good. If you have any kind of nicks, like if, you know, when Keith was bringing this to me, if there happened to have been some kind of something that it, you know, bumped into in his truck and created a high spot, you would see it right here. And I don't feel anything. And I'm starting to see the high spots come in from the scraping. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to the fine side of the stone there. And let's just give this a very light polish here. Now it's a little hard to get that to show on video there, but what you do is you just look through at a reflection. So we have the lights above us here in the shop, and what I'm doing is I'm standing here and I can see the light reflection, and as you move around, it actually makes all of your equal high spots there, all your points, reflect. I call them stars. That's what they look like to me. It's like you're looking up in the night sky and you see all the stars. That's how I see a beautifully scraped surface. Now I want to step back and look at this. It looks good. I see plenty of high spots there. I think we have a good level on our hands. It's nice and flat. Let me come around here this side and see if I can help you guys see that any. Just look for the reflection. So it looks good there. Let's go ahead and head over to our granite surface plate. Okay, here's our plate. I've got a video that we just launched recently on basic care and maintenance of this, so we've already got this guy nice and clean. But since we just uncovered it, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and give it a wipe. Just make sure that we get any dust and dirt that has settled on it off now. Just going to give it a rub with my hand here. It feels beautiful. As slick smooth as you can imagine, just on that plate right there. All right, we're going to take our fell, and I'm going to go ahead. I want to just give it a wipe too. Give it a wipe. Give that a wipe. I'm going to do it one more time, and we should be ready to go here. Remember to set things down gently on your granite plate. Okay, feels good. I'm looking at the, it is scraped beautifully. The way it's hinging there, you've got approximately 30% from the ends, so we have a very nice flat level on our hands right there. So I'm just kind of eyeballing the middle of it, and I'm gonna stop touching it. I'll bring you in so you guys can actually, I want to square it up a little bit more. There we go. Let's let that thing settle. It looks like it's just about there, and we are off quite a bit. Almost, I'm going to say about 3.5 thousandths in both directions. So we're low over here and low on this side right there. Okay, so here's looking down at the level. Each one of those lines, as we mentioned, indicates a 1/2 thousandths per foot in elevation there, okay? So I can already tell that that direction over here, this side, is almost 4 thousandths. It's 4 thousandths low over here on this side. And if we're looking at this side of the level, down in here, it's 1, 2, so about 3.5 thousandths out of elevation on this side right there. So we can either come to this corner and adjust it up, or come over here to this corner and lower this side down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that and see if we can get this guy leveled in nicely. Okay, I think I got you guys a nice tight shot there so you can see that level vial. I'm gonna go ahead and start tweaking our leveling feet down here on the corners and see what we can do. Okay, starting off on the wrong foot here. Going the wrong way anyway. So let's see if I can go back the other direction. Doesn't take much. Very, very minute movements on the leveling screw there. Look at that. All right, so from your perspective, front to back is very, very close. So let's see if we can go side to side a little bit more. And I'm already going too far, you can tell. We're high on this side right there. This direction is nearly perfect, probably a 1/2 thou or so, but you can see we've got one, looks like you guys are getting a better shot here. 1, 2, so it's 2 thousandths off on this side right here. Let's keep going and see what I can do about that. Slight adjustment there. I'm going to try to do 2 legs equally. Looks like we're making some progress there. Let's try that again. I'm just barely moving the wrench when I do this. Just barely bumping the wrench with my hand, and I'm trying not to lean on the plate either. Just try to stand over it, not put your body weight on it. Looks like we're pretty close. Let me try that one more time, see if that little bump will make a difference there. And you can see that I went too far with that last bump. I'm gonna go back the other way and see if it'll go back there. It is such amazing accuracy, just that tiny bit of movement on that screw. And you can see how this is where I'm talking about. You can definitely chase your tail there. Trying to get this side right here to come over. Almost, let me give that another bump. I'm taking the screw out, so down with the foot here. We almost have it. Maybe if I keep bumping this corner, we'll get it. Looking for that side and that side right there. Man, that is so close. I'm afraid to move it anymore because you know I'm going to go too far with it. But those are some pretty light bumps that we're doing there. It's looking pretty good. Let me give you a shot of me, what I'm doing to move these screws here. All right, so it has actually moved too far the way I was going, so we're gonna take it, and I just kind of bump it like that with my wrist because it doesn't take much. And I'm finding that you really do need to stand back for about a minute and let that bubble settle. That's probably going to be too much there, but that might be good. So I'm going to stop there because it's getting close again, and let that let that bubble settle. All right, so we're gonna see if we can get this side over here a little bit closer. Probably way too much right there. It's looking good though. I thought it was going to move more than that. Let's try that again. Just a bump. That is so close. It's continuing to move, continuing to settle. That's a good example there of how patient you have to be to let that bubble move. It's like when I made that first bump there, it didn't move at all. I bumped it again, and then look how far it moved over there. So we moved it a thousandths out that way. Let's go back. Let's bump it back. And let's give it a minute and see what it does there. Not quite a half a thou. I mean, we are pretty darn close, guys. Let's try that again. One tiny bump there. Well, you can see how tough it is to get your machine or your plate leveled with this guy right there as perfectly as possible, because when you want it to move a little bit, it usually ends up moving more than you want. But so we're about a half a thousandths out, maybe not quite a half a thou both directions. That right there is pretty spot on level. It's definitely a lot closer than what we had when we started. But I will tell you that it doesn't take much to throw that off. And for example, I'm just going to kind of rest my arms here behind you. And when I do that, you see that level moving? That's how sensitive it is. The granite plate is mounted on the 3 rubber pads, so if you're leaning on it any way, you're going to throw that off. So we're just looking for a static level at this point, because, you know, just like if we use this plate, we set a heavy workpiece up here, it's going to change the level too, but we want our static level of where this plate's going to sit at to be as perfect as we can. And we're very close, but right now it's just more of a challenge of trying to get this guy perfectly level where that guy is sitting. All right, so we're still not quite, maybe let's just call it a half a thousandths in 2 directions there. And this just is taking a lot more time than I want to bore you guys with on the video. So I'm going to keep working at it myself here. I want to take this foot down a touch. And this one, try to do this one side equally if we can. And give it a minute and see what we did, and let that bubble settle out. This is about a 30-second time lapse, so you guys can get a little quicker view of me walking around trying to adjust these leveling feet to within a half a thousandth. So you can see how tough it is. One little bump and it just goes twice as far as you want it to go. I think we've got it about as close as I'm gonna get it using this level, because what I've been discovering with using this fell is that once you get to the point to where it's almost perfectly centered on that line, it seems like you bump it one time and then it takes it over that sort of like a top dead center on a radius. It's like it just goes past that and then it falls off to the other side. It moves much more than what you're expecting it to. And so looking at the line right here, those lines, you know, indicating a half a thousandths in elevation, I'm looking like this side here, maybe, you know, 2/10. And then that side over there, I'm trying not to lean on it because it will move if I touch it. About the same thing back there as well. Maybe about 2/10 of elevation difference. And I'm afraid that if I just keep trying to very lightly bump that, it's gonna move past that top dead center. It's gonna move way too far, and then you're right back where you started, and you're trying to bring it back up. So that right there is very, very, very close to me, and I'm happy with that result. And it's real easy to stand here and look at that, and you're in pursuit of that ultimate perfection. It bothers you. It takes you, you take it personal that you haven't gotten that thing perfectly centered on those lines yet. But it's okay. I mean, that right there is going to change by the simple fact of I bring something heavy in there, that cylinder square right there, and we set it on the corner of this table. That's going to change right there. But we know that our static setting here with the plate just resting with nothing on it or being used is going to be near perfectly level right there. So I'm real happy with the results of that, and I think that we're just gonna leave this guy alone and stop fussing with it, because it's too easy to make that thing move off a thousandths, just by literally a little tap of the wrench there. So let's just call that level of where we're at, and I may even get my my other level out and put it here next to it and see if we can determine if it's lined up the same as the fell here. Okay, I've got the Starrett 199 precision level out. We've got them next to each other, and they appear to be pretty close there. So let's see if we can get you in there so you can see this a little bit better. All right, so the divisions on the Starrett level is the same as the fell. It's a 0.5 thousandths per foot. And if we just focus on the right hand side of your screen there, you can see that it appears that we're, maybe 2-3 tenths off max. And then if we look at the right side of the bubble here, you can see that, I know it's hard to see it. Let me see if I can zoom in. There you go. You can see that we're past that line there just slightly. So you're talking 1 or 2 tenths difference of in calibration right there. But they look like they're matching up pretty close. If you look at that bubble past that line there, and you can see it to the right side of that line right there as well. Those were originally painted black. I mean, it's just, this is an older level. It's been used, so some of that paint has worn away. But I would say that it looks like the fell and the Starrett are pretty well calibrated to the same specs there anyway. And I'm happy with it. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. So we've turned our Starrett level the other direction, and I've been giving it several minutes here for everything to resettle. And I am seeing some very minor differences with the level in this position here. And that could indicate that the fell may be out of perfect alignment in one axis. I'm not quite sure, but if we zoom in here to the Starrett, and I know it's kind of hard to tell there, but if you look at the top of the bubble and the bottom of the bubble, you can see that the bubble is shifted that way just slightly, very, very minor. And then if you look at the fell, you can see it's just the opposite on that there. So I'm not really sure. It could be the fell, but I'm not sure if it's the Starrett, because now it's been a little while, but we did calibrate this in a previous video. So I calibrated it, but this could have changed. So I'm not sure, but either way, we're so close on both of these levels here in that vial that we're pretty well level. I mean, it's hard not to consider that level. It's just the level of accuracy is a little bit ridiculous to chase there. So one of them probably needs to be calibrated. I'm not sure which one it is at this point, but I'm happy with the results, and we're going to leave it just the way it is right there. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up today's Tool Tuesday. I am happy with the position of our granite surface plate here and where we're getting it leveled out. And despite the frustration that it can be trying to get something level using a fell or any other precision level, it is a fun task to do. Not something that you want to do every single day, but when you get to do something like this and get your plate or your machine set up, it is fun practicing it and getting a little bit better with the technique of properly adjusting so that you can use these high precision levels to get your equipment leveled in there. So real happy that I finally own one of these guys. I got to thank Keith Rucker again for offering to sell me this guy. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to cherish having it and keep it put away and take care of it. So after the video, we'll get her put away in my Gerstner toolbox there, and it'll be ready for the next leveling session that we get to. As far as checking our granite, I don't know how often that we'll do it, but let's just say every 6 months or so, maybe 6 months to a year, or whenever we feel like we need to give it a check. We will certainly get our plate clean and pull this out and check it and see where we're at on our level, if it's moved, if it's settled, or if something's changed. I did want to point out, by the way, that I did go around to all 4 of the leveling feet. There is a lock nut on there, and I lightly locked those and inspected the level, and it didn't change any of the readings there. So we've got our feet locked in there, and it should be good to go. But you may get some settling over time with the concrete and things like that, and that's why we'll come back there and recheck it periodically. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you had fun with me, had fun watching the frustration of trying to get this guy to perfection there. But we've got plenty more really good content in store for our Tool Tuesdays. I hope you guys have been enjoying watching those. As I had said in the first Tool Tuesday video, I think it's a great format for me to be able to share with you guys things like this, new tools, used tools, machine tool accessories that we get, and share some of its uses with you whenever we get some of those tools in here in the shop, or we're gonna put them to work here. All right, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you again on the next video.